Please send one. Okay, so last session we taught on the until page 185 drawing arrows. We were talking about drawings in OpenCV and Python. So now I want to say the arrow line function. The signature of this function is as follows. This is the image. PT1 and PT2s are 2 points. This function allows you to create an arrow which points from the first point, PT1, defined by PT1, to the second point defined by PT2. The length of the arrow tip can be controlled by the tip length parameter, this one, which is defined in relation to the segment length. By segment length, we mean distance between PT1 and PT2. So let me run Spider. Basic drawings. So I'm waiting that Spider is up. So here we draw 3 arrows. 3 arrows are defined. The thickness, the line type, and shape are like before. So, for example, here it says that draw a arrow line in image from 50-50 to 0.20-50. The color is red. The thickness is 3. The line top is 8. Shift is 0, and the tip length is 0.1. So if you look here, the tip length means this, because this is the tip. Okay, this is the tip of the arrow. So the length tip is 0.1 of this segment line. This is PT1, this is PT2. Okay, it is started from 50-50 to 250. So it is 50-50. This is 250. So the first one is actually the Coulomb number, or X, because X always is horizontal. So when we say 200 first, it means the Coulomb number, or X in CV. In OpenCV, in functions of OpenCV, the first one means x. But in NumPy, the first one is actually y. The first one is row, the row number. Anyway, so let's see that I close those ones that I don't want. Documents. Wait, where was it? Oh, it's history. I don't know. Basic drawing. Yeah. So this is this script. So we have shown array. We draw a line and a rectangle. I explain them. So I make this a comment. Then we see the arrow lines. We draw arrow lines using arrow line function. So if I run it, then I have three arrow lines. So I should show you something. If I you see here CV2 line AA. So Control C. If I print this, you see it's a number. Okay. If I print this one, it's 4, and if I can print this, it is 8. So these constants actually are some integers that for convenience we use a symbol for each. So here when we say 8, it means CV2 line 8. When or we could write here CV2 line 8. Okay, it is easier we use the symbols. We don't need to remember the numbers for each, the equivalent number. We can use the symbols. It's easier. No screen, but it is shared. But Students who have the screen, see the screen, please send 10. Please type 10 if you see the screen. Okay, good. Thank you. So, so each of the symbols actually have an equivalent integer number. So it's easy. Arrow line. The extra parameter that you need is tip length. You should say that, for example, 0.1 means that the tip length, is the length of the tip should be 1/10 of the length of the line segment. Here it's 0.3 and the last one is 0.2, so it is easy. In this example, we have combined on purpose to call your attention both enums, for example, CV2 line AA, or writing the value directly, for example, 8 in connection with the line type parameter. This is definitely not a good idea because it could confuse you. One criterion should be established and maintained throughout all your code. So it's better always you use CV2 line AA or other symbols. Mohammed Rashid Mahdi, is it necessary to use CV2 line? When you need it, you use it. When you don't need it, you don't use it. What do you mean? I don't understand your question. We use anything when we need it. Okay. If you mean for arrow, no, for arrow it draw the line as well. When you say draw, when you call arrow line, and you say from here to here draw a arrow line, it also draw the needed line. Okay, so let me continue. Okay, drawing ellipses. Ellipses, it's better, I think. Okay, I explain here, then I explain using documentation as well. The signature for this function is as follows. This function allows the angle parameter in degrees allows you to rotate the ellipse, the angle. The axis parameter controls the size of the ellipse corresponding to half the size of axis. You know, an ellipse has two axes. Okay, if a full ellipse is required, the start angle should be 0 and the end angle should be 360. Otherwise, you should adjust these parameters to the required elliptic arc in degrees. You can also see that by passing the same value for the axis, you can draw a circle. These ellipses can be seen in the next screenshot. So, for example, this one, this is a, let me, that I, new window, okay. So here, we say draw an ellipse in image. So the first one is center, 80, 80. So if you look here, the center of this, maybe it's about here. It's about here, the center of the ellipse. Then the next two numbers are two axes. These numbers provide the half of the axis, half the size of the axis. One of them is 60, one of them is 40. Okay? So this is the axis. Assume a line here. This is the axis. Half of it means from center to here. Okay? It's 60. And this is another axis. So from the center until here, because we provide the half size of the axis, it's 40. Then we say the angle, it is 0. It means that when that the horizontal axis is horizontal. Okay? And the last one, I will explain this again, okay? Wait a second. Then from start angle to end angle is 0 to 360. It means that we draw a full ellipse. For example, here, the yellow one, it's from 0 to 180. Look here. You see here? From 0 until 180. Or here, it's not a complete ellipse. It's from 0 until 270 degrees. It's for this one. Okay? -1 here means that this ellipse, the red one, is filled. You see it's filled. But others, we just draw the outlines. This one, which is a circle, actually the two axes, the two axes are equal. You see here, 30 and 30. Okay? So, why 2 zeros? Where? The first one is for angle. The second one is for a start angle. I explained them using documentation. I think it's very better there. Wait a second. Okay. So we want to talk about. Okay, I will explain them now. So ellipse, there is a simple or thick elliptic arc or fills an ellipse sector. Okay. The function ellipse with more parameters, there is an ellipse outline. Outline means just the boundary of of an ellipse, a filled ellipse, or an elliptic arc. You see, for example, we just draw from here to here. It's an arc of an ellipse. Okay, or a filled ellipse sector. For example, we can draw half of it. Okay, so the drawing code uses general parametric form. A piecewise linear curve is used to approximate the elliptic arc boundary. If you need more control of the ellipse rendering, you can retrieve the curve using if you use the first variant of the function and want to draw the whole ellipse, not an arc, pass a start angle equals 0. Okay, I want to explain using this. So assume that we have this ellipse, okay? This ellipse has two axes, first axis, second axis, okay? Half of this axis we say axis width, you see, yeah. The half of this axis we say axis height, from here to here. Also the coordinates axis, this is x, this is y. So we draw a circle with radius of axis width, I mean with the radius of half of the first axis, which we'll call it axis width. So we draw a circle, you see, we draw a circle with radius of half of the first axis. Here we have another ellipse. In this case, the second axis is larger, you see. This is the second axis from here to here. This is larger than this one. So if we draw a circle with half of the first axis, then we will have this radius, this circle. So these circles are for helping us to set the parameters of the ellipse, okay? So we use these circles to better understand how we draw an ellipse, okay? So the angle between the first axis and x axis is the angle, you see, this is the angle. So when this is 0, then we will have a horizontal axis, you see here. For example, this one, you see, the angle for all of them are 0, okay? You see the angle 0. For this one, it's 45. I mean this. So it's one of the axes. Then this is the horizontal axis x. So you see it is rotated. It is rotated. So the angle is the ellipse rotation angle in degrees. It is the angle between first axis and x axis. So you see it's clockwise. It's clockwise. The start angle and end angle. Starting angle of the elliptic arc in degrees. For example, you see from here until here, this dash line, this dash lines. So from the center to the helping circle. So we draw this using a starting angle. Starting angle, we have an angle, this angle, then we draw this line from the center to here. So the angle is a starting angle. Then from here we draw an orthogonal line to the first axis. Then in this point it cuts the ellipse, so we start drawing from here. Okay, from here. If a starting angle is 0, then we start from here. Okay, and the ending angle of the elliptic arc in degrees. So from here to here, you see this is the from here to here, this is the end angle. So in this point we draw the radius of the circle. Then from here we draw an orthogonal line to the first axis. So here it cuts the ellipse. So this is the end angle. So we draw the arc from here to here. If it is 60, if it is 360, then it means that we go to the end. We draw until end. So when we say a start angle is 0, end angle is 360, it means that we draw a complete ellipse. Okay, I think it's clear now. So someone wants to talk? May Saba Ibrahim, you can talk now. So you see, so this is the image. This is the center of the ellipse. These are the half size of the axis, first axis and second axis. This is the angle of rotation of the first axis with respect to the x-axis. This is the starting angle of drawing the ellipse, and this is the end angle. This is the color, and this is the thickness. If it is minus, then it draws a field ellipse. Okay, I think everything is clear. Again, I review the angle parameter allows you to rotate the ellipse. The axis parameter controls the size of the ellipse corresponding to half the size of the two axes. If a full ellipse is required, the start angle should be 0, end angle should be 360. Otherwise, you should adjust these parameters to the required elliptic arc in degrees. I think it's clear and it's easy. So for example, for yellow one, you see, for yellow one, for yellow one, You see, we say from 0 to 180. Also note that the first axis is smaller than the second. Okay, that's why it's like this. Okay, any question yet? Any question? So here, I make this comments. So these are the ellipses that we draw. Any question? No question? If you have any question, I'm waiting that you ask. Okay, you see the screen now. So the next page is Polygon. Drawing polygons. The signature for this function is as follows. We have polylines, image, PTS, scalars, color, thickness, line type, shift are like before. So we have these two parameters that I should explain to you about polygons. So if you didn't understand anything, you should review. Okay, after the class, you should review and then you can ask again. Actually, in the course, in the online course, we just say starting things to you. So you should study, you should exercise, practice that you understand fully everything. This function allows you to create polygonal curves. Here the key parameter is PTS, where the array defining the polygonal curve should be provided. So when we want to draw a polygon, let me explain from here. Oh, okay, I will explain again to you. The shape of this parameter should be number vertex 1 by 2. So a common approach is to define it using NumPy array to create the coordinates. So we have a function from NumPy that we can create an array of points. Okay, the points, each point has the coordinate of one of the points, one of the vertex of type NumPy int 32, and after, for example, to create a triangle. Okay, a triangle has 3 vertices. Okay, so we need to provide the coordinates of 3 vertices. Okay, wait a second, please. Okay, so PTS is a variable here. Okay, PTS is a variable and I'm explaining it. Okay, listen please. So PTS, when we want, maybe I explain like this. When we want to draw a polygon, so we should, for example, for a triangle, we have 3 vertices, 1, 2, 3. For a square, we have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. For this one, we have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 vertices. Okay, we have 5 vertices. So we should we should specify the coordinate of these vertices. We put the coordinate of the vertices in an array. We call it PTS. Okay, so for triangle we have 3 vertices, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here we use numpy array function. So if you see here, so it's create an array. It creates an array. Okay. So we say 255, 220, 80, 280, 80. So if I draw this, wait a second. I exit from the program here. So I make this a comment. So we have some polygons. Okay, I run it. You see here. So here it's about, you see, look here when I move mouse here, it's about 250 and 4. 250 and 4. Here you see it's 250 and 5. Okay, so this point defines this vertex. So the first one is x. Okay, 250. It's column number 250, and the 5 is the row number. So this the second point, the second vertex, the coordinate of the second is 220 and 80. 220 is this one and 80, and the last one is 200. Its y is 80 because it's a horizontal line. You see it is 80 like this, and the column number is 280. Okay, so we define the points. We put the vertices of a rectangle in an array. Then we have to reshape it. We should change its shape. Its shape, what is its shape now? If I print it, print PTS shape. Okay. If I run it again, you see it's 3 by 2. It's 3 by 2. it has 3 points. Each point has 2 entries. But as I told you, the shape of PTS, the shape of this parameter should be number vertices 1, 2. Number vertices here is 3, so it should be 3, 1, 2. So we change its shape with this statement. We say PTS reshape, so 1, 2. So we put here -1, and because PTS has 3, it's automatically set this to 3. So when we run this, if we print the shape again after this statement, you see, first it was 3 by 2, now it's 3, 1, 2. Okay, Maxus, Hadi, Maxus. It's no problem, I will explain again, okay? But first, let me finish this part, okay? Here we want to draw a triangle, so we specify the coordinates of its 3 vertices. It is image, then we put PTS in a pair of square brackets. Here true means that connect the 2 last vertices. Okay, you see here we draw, it draws from the first vertex to second to end, and then if this parameter is true, the end is connected to the first one. So if I change it to false, so look here again, you see it is not connected. It's not connected to the last vertex is not connected to the first. But if I set this to true, we run it again, F5. So you see it is closed. So I think it's clear. If we want to draw another triangle, so we again put the coordinates of its vertices to an array of numpy using this statement. Then we reshape the shape to this shape using this statement. Then we call polylines. Okay, so this one is false. Okay, now we have another one. You see, this one is actually it's not closed because we set this parameter to false. So for Pentagon, a shape with 5 vertices, we define the coordinates of 5 points. Then we reshape it, we call polylines, so the color is blue. It's this one. Again, another pentagon. So, but here we set this parameter to false, so it is opened. It's not closed. This one is here we specify 4 vertices, so it's a rectangle. And again, so it's easy. It's nothing more to say here. So again, I review this, drawing polygons. The signature for this function is as follows. This function allows you to create polygonal curves. Here the key parameter is PTS, the second parameter, where the array defining the polygonal curve should be provided. So we should provide an array. The shape of this parameter should be number of vertices by 1 by 2. So a common approach is to define it by using NumPy array to create the coordinates of the NumPy int32 type, and afterward reshape it to match the aforementioned shape. So first we create it using NumPy array, then we reshape it using this statement. For example, to create a triangle, the code will look like this. I explained. Another important parameter is closed. This one, the third one. If the parameter is true, the polygon will be drawn closed. Otherwise, a line segment between the first and last vertex will not be plotted, resulting in an open polygon. For a complete explanation, in order to draw a closed triangle, the code is given next. So I explain you. In the same way, we have coded pentagons and rectangles, which can be seen in the next screenshot. Okay, the full code of this section you can see in basic drawing 2 that I run this. Okay, so okay. So do you want that I explain ellipse again or no? If you like that I explain ellipse again, please send 1. If you don't need that I explain it again, please send 2. Okay, I explain it again. So let me that I create a new script. So I import CV2, I import NumPy as NP, I import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, then I create a figure first. For example, I call it figure equals NumPy zeros. So I provide its shape, for example, 500 by 500 by 3, and I say d type equals uint8. Okay, then I show the image, plt image show image, then I write plt show. So I run it to test it. So now it works. So now I don't have anything. Okay, so I draw an ellipse. So I call CV2 ellipse. So first I provide the image, so it's image. So I put a center for it. For example, I put the center 200, 200. Then I should provide the axes, 2 axes. For example, the first one 40, the second one 20. Of course, these are the half of the axis. The angle, I put it 0. The start angle, I put it 0. The end angle, I put it 360. And the color, I put it 250 BGR. So I want to draw using actually blue color. Okay. So the thickness, for example, 3. So I run it F5. You see, we have an ellipse here. No screen. You should have the screen. Students who have the screen, please send 10. If you don't have the screen, please send 11. Okay, so you have a screen. So you see, this is an ellipse. So let me make it larger. For example, I put here 80, here 50, F5. So here I have an ellipse. So let me that I change the angle, okay? So the angle is 0. I change it to 30 degrees. So you see, it is rotated. Okay. If I want to make it, you see. So, for example, if I put this 60 degrees, you see, it rotates more. It rotates more. If I put it 90, you see, okay. Deflection angle, reshape, I don't use here reshape. I will explain it later, okay. Reflection angle, what do you mean? So, for example, I put it again 0. You see, we have this. Still, I can make it larger. Maybe I put it 150 and I put this 80. It's better, okay? So the center is 200. The center is here about 200, 200, okay? So now I said that start angle is 0. Maybe I say the start angle be 30. So you see, it starts from 30. If I put this 90, it starts from here, 90. Because assume that this is the center, we have an axis here. So the angle between this and the starting angle, you see, it's 90 in my example. So it starts from drawing here, okay? So if I change it to 180, you see, from here. If I start from, let's say, 270, then it starts from here. Question? What do you mean? A VU numpy is similar to a VU mathematics? I don't understand. So let me make it 0 again, a start angle. So I run it again, that you see. So this is the complete ellipse. So if I change the end angle to 180, you see, the end will be 180. It starts from here until 180. For example, you can say start from 90. So you just have this. If I put this a minus value thickness, then we have this, okay? This field, this section, this sector will be filled. Any question now for the ellipse? Note that I make this one, the first axis 80, and this one 150. It means that the first axis is less than the second. So I again say from 0 to 360. Run it. You see, the first angle, the first axis is smaller than the second. Okay, any question now about ellipse? Okay, about ellipse, if you still has a question, please ask. If you don't have any question, please send 20. If you don't have any question about ellipse, please send 20. Okay, nice. So let me that I draw a polyline. Okay, so let me copy this part. So let me check. Okay, so I make this a comment. So let me make delete something. So okay. Now I define 3 points here using NumPy array. 250, 105, and others, okay? Then I reshape it. Then I say draw a polylines of PTS. PTS has 3 vertices. So it draws a triangle, okay? So let me run it. Check that it works or no. Oh, an error. Colors is not defined. Okay, colors is not defined. So I put a color myself. So F5. So we have this. So we have 3 vertices. The first one is, let me that I color green. We should but its value. Okay. So maybe I make it larger if this one is 250, 100. So maybe I bring it here, 250 and 10, for example, the first vertex. And then the second one, it's 220, 180. Maybe I bring it here, 400, 100, 400, 100, and the last one I bring it here, maybe 400, 400. I want to draw a larger triangle. So if I run it now, So, oh, what happened? So we have three now, three vertices. This is 250, 10, the first, 400 and 100, the second one, and then 400 and 400. The 400 and 400 is here. So I wanted to put this, translate this here. So first I should provide the column number. It should be 100. So I run it again. Okay. So this is a triangle. We just have to do this. If we don't do this reshape, oh, what happened? Maybe it's oh, it still works. Maybe we don't need this in the new version. So anyway, if we put this value to true, you see, it is closed. Okay, let me check the polylines. Polylines. So here we have PTS, array of polygonal curves. So it works. Maybe in this version we don't need anything. I think it's clear. If you have any question, if you want to draw, for example, a rectangle or a shape with 4 vertices, then you should provide one more. For example, 200 and 400. I add 1, 400, 200 to check what happened. You see? Now I added this one. Okay? Or I can add another vertex if I want. So if we put it false again, F5, you see that the last vertex doesn't connect it to the first. So I think it's easy and it's clear. If you have a question, ask. If you don't have any question about polylines, please just send 30, okay? This time, send 30. If you don't have any question about polylines, send 30. Oh, okay. How many people are here? Okay, 30. So shift parameter, I don't want to explain this part, okay? This part, I don't explain it for the moment. Line parameter, I don't want to explain it at the moment. Of course, I just say you that the line 4 is drawn like this, because actually an image is some pixels. It's like a chess, okay? It's like a chess. So when we want to draw a line, we can draw by this way. It means that we use line 4. You can draw using line 8. Then we draw the line like this. or you can use line AA, which will be this one. It's this one actually. It is a smooth. I just say about this, but you don't have to read about this. Writing text. Writing text is very easy. You use a function which is put text. Maybe I stop here, okay? Until page 195. So until page 195. Of course, we didn't teach some pages from page 191. Pages 191 until 194 didn't teach. Okay. So any question? So we taught until here, okay? 150, 195. If you have any question, ask. If you don't have any question, I want to stop the course today at the moment. The subjects is more? What do you mean? Subjects is more. What do you mean? I don't understand. What do you mean? Actually, when you say subjects, then you should say are. Or you should say a subject is. Okay? But I didn't understand what you mean. So don't forget that we have an exam. I put the link on the course. Let me explain to you. When you log in the LMS system, oh, it doesn't work. Wait a second. Okay, you see online exam. So you click here and you enter the exam. Okay. When you click here, then you enter the exam. Of course, I didn't add any question yet, but I will do it. But there are some very important points. You should write, yes, just programs. Write only the items requested in the question, okay? For example, I ask you a code like this, or this one. So you see, there are a lot of things here, but sometimes I just ask you a part of it. So you should just put the items that I asked. You should, if you use this one, you should remove the parts that are not part of the answer. The time of the exam is enough, okay? But still, I didn't specify it, okay? If it's 2 questions, then it's likely it will be 30 minutes. But if it's 3 questions, then it will be more, okay? At the moment, I didn't put the questions in the exam, okay? So adding extra items will deduct the score. If you have extra items, then I will decrease your score for that question. If there are many extra items in the answer, no score will be given to the question. Sometimes there are a lot of extra items, then no score. You should just answer what I asked. The exam consists of or 2 or 3 programming questions. I didn't provide it yet. In each question, it is necessary to upload only the program file with .py extension. Okay? When you write a program, for example, I wrote this program, okay? It's saved on the disk. For example, I save it. For example, I save it here. For example, I say it question 1. Okay? Then when I go here, you see this file. You just have to upload this file. Okay? So in each question, it is necessary to upload only the program file with .py extension. Okay, then I will run it and test that it is correct or no. Be sure to use a computer to take the exam. Do not use a mobile phone, because you have to write a program. You have to write a program with computer. You have to test it. You have to debug it. If it has an error, you should check it and fix it. Okay, so it's mandatory to use a computer. Don't use a mobile phone, because you should have a spider. You should have a computer that you can write. You can use a spider. Okay. Do not postpone. Do not postpone uploading the answers until late, because if for any reason you cannot send the answer to the question through this system, other methods will not be accepted. Okay. For example, if you have 30 minutes, then when you finish in 20 minutes, then upload the answers. Don't put it for the last minute. If you leave it for the last minute, maybe the internet is slow, or you have a cut in your connection, then you can't upload. So as soon as you have time, you finished the writing the script, please upload it. For example, in 10, maybe if you if you have studied very good, then you can write the script very fast. Then maybe in 10 minutes you finish it. So you should upload it immediately. Don't worry about the time, okay? If it's same for all of you, you should be very fast. You should know, if you learn everything well, if you study already well, then you do it fast. But if you didn't study well, then maybe you don't have enough time. The last but not the least point is that do not send your answers to other students, because all similar answers are considered cheating, and all of them will be 0. Okay, I think you see, look here, this file is just 1 kilobyte, so you can upload it very, very, very fast. It's very, very easy. don't worry. If you have an internet disconnection, then when it connects, you can continue to your exam. Okay, you can continue. For the next, maybe I show you something. If I add a question, let me. I don't have time. For example, I add some questions here. Wait a second. Wait a second. That I add some test questions here.